Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to be answering the following question. What is research? What is research? And we're going to be beginning to explore this question by using a few summaries that recently published books have done on this big topic of research. They've taken this big concept and they've kind of cut it into pieces and they've put them into tables. And this is one of the ways, particularly if you are a visual learner like me, this is one of the ways that we can often begin to get our heads around a big topic. We're going to be encountering lots of new technical terms. Empiricalism, post-structuralism, positivism, qualitative, quantitative, all sorts of words. Now, at the end of this series of lectures, at the end of these short series of lectures, we'll be going back to the mind map. From the mind map, we're going to be giving you suggestions about recommended books on the Google Drive that you can use as a reference book. You know where they are, you go there, and they have got lovely, nice, concise explanations of these big words. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing a table produced by a number of recent scholars, recently published books by people who teach research methods and bring concepts into tables and compare about how one methodology is different from the other. And we're going to use this as a way of really just introducing you to the most important parts of this big topic of research. And remember, the big topic of research we've already cut down because we're primarily interested in this thing called ethnographic research. Not a qualitative, not a quantitative research specialist. So if you are a numbers person, there will be other courses you can take. So what we're going to do is begin to go through some really nice summaries, small, short, concise summaries of this big topic. And this is the first one, and we're going to go to full screen now. So let's have a look at this together. So there are a number of different types of research, and for the purpose of this course, we are emphasizing ones which are qualitative. We will touch on mixed methods research in some way. We won't be dealing really with community-based participatory research or arts-based research. Our main interest in this course is qualitative research. Now, qualitative research has been influenced by paradigms ranging from post-positive interpretive paradigms and a constructivist paradigm. We will be talking about the importance of constructivism in both this course and the course on ethnicity. What theoretical schools have influenced qualitative approaches to research, and we see a list here. What genres of qualitative research are the most important for us to know? There are a range of interview techniques ranging from structured interviews, semi-structured, in-depth oral histories, as well as focus groups. And we will be talking about that at a later date. Field research, remember we have been talking a lot already about what do we mean by field and field work, and participant observation is arguably the most important aspect of field work, because people don't say what they do and don't do what they say. We also have a number of other unobtrusive methods which are interested primarily in analysing documents, texts, audio files, audio-visual files, none of which requires interacting with human subjects. That's why they're called unobtrusive. Okay, so let's regroup and let's go back to our next slide. So, and this builds on the first slide. This table is from another one from Levy, and to just make it clear to you that all of these works that I'm referring to, you have got access to. You don't have to worry about it. We may have a link below here, but you really don't need it because all of this information is provided. Levy's 2017 Research Design, a very, very nice book, and this is from page 15, but that is stating the obvious. So let's just go to full screen again so that we can see this in detail. And so there are a number, he's just going into a bit more detail again, and this is some of the material from the first table. And again, I just want to reiterate that these are the research methods that we are going to be particularly dealing with in this course. Okay, so moving on again, let's go to the other table. Some of you may have come from a background of mathematics and statistics. You may have had some interactions with demography, and you may be more comfortable with numbers than words. And if that's your background, that's wonderful. If that is your strength, that's very good. We're going to be talking later on in the course about these differences between qualitative and quantitative research, but at the moment, what I'm wanting to do is to just introduce you to these concepts and to the main concepts. And so we'll just go to full screen, and then we will be able to work our way through this table bit by bit. And so let's just cut down the differences between quantitative research and qualitative research. Quantitative research being research which is interested in putting numbers to things, and to qualitative research. So there are differences in terms of underpinning philosophy. So the quantitative research approach has a rationalistic as opposed to a qualitative research approach which emphasizes empiricalism. The only knowledge that humans acquire is by sensory experience, by seeing things and experiencing things. The other important difference is the approach to inquiry, the approach to scientific inquiry through research methods. The quantitative methods are more structured, rigid, predetermined, whereas qualitative research tends to be more unstructured, flexibility, and open. And there's a number of reasons for that. And the most important reason is that human beings are unpredictable. We are complex. We are contradictory. We say this and we do that. We hear rumours and we assume when we spend time with people that these rumours are true, and we need to be open to this thing called serendipity or providence or luck, depending on how you see things. And that is the reason why, as qualitative researchers, we need to go into the field with an interest and with a question that needs to be asked and answered, but we need to be flexible because of the type of qualitative data that we may encounter. What is the main purpose of a qualitative research project? It is to describe variation in a phenomenon, a situation, an issue. It may be one to do with religion, it may be to do with language, it may be to do with business, it may be to do with kinship, it may be to do with health, there are all sorts of phenomena, interests that you may be interested in. As opposed to describing, quantitative research is more interested in quantifying. How are these variables measured? It is, in qualitative research, there is an emphasis on description of variations, not necessarily measurement or classification. What is the sample size? And another important difference is that qualitative research tends to have smaller sample sizes than quantitative research. The focus of inquiry in qualitative research covers a multiple range of issues, but assembles required information from fewer respondents. This compares with a narrow focus amongst quantitative research, which assembles required information from large numbers of respondents. What is the dominant research value in qualitative research? It is authenticity, whereas amongst quantitative research practitioners, the emphasis is on reliability and objectivity. What are the types of topics explored in qualitative research? They are experiences, meanings, perceptions, and feelings, which is different from the agenda of most quantitative research. How do we analyse data if we are doing qualitative research? We analyse subjects' responses, narratives, or observational data to identification of themes, and we, as qualitative researchers, describe these. How do we communicate findings? Do we use graphs? Do we use maths? Do we use measurements? No, what we do is we describe and narrate these findings. We describe, we don't define, we describe and we narrate. We, qualitative practitioners of qualitative research, are arguably first and foremost storytellers. Okay, right, so we've talked a bit about qualitative research and how it differs from quantitative research. But how do we know whether the quality of our qualitative data is adequate? If we do quantitative research, we may be told this number of surveys, this number of informants will mean that there is quality in your quantitative data. But what are the criteria for quality in quantitative data? Let's go to full screen now so we can have a closer look at this. And we'll see here that there are a number of criteria, and the most important is that there is explicitness. There is explicitness. We are clear about what we have done. In order for us to have adequate quality in our qualitative data, we have to make it clear to our readers initially, our lecturers, our supervisors, later on to your colleagues and to editors, about what methods you have used, what qualitative research methods you have used. And this is the reason why we are doing this course. We need to decide what method to use, and we need to be clear about what method we have used. We need to be clear about the weaknesses of this method, the strengths of this method, and why we have chosen this method to answer, this research method to answer the research question that we have asked. So explicitness. Another criteria is thoroughness. We have to make sure that we have put together a comprehensive research project. The other criteria for quality in qualitative research is congruence. All the components of our project needs to fit together. The library research, the research question determines the literature research, determines the methodology, determines the size, the length of fieldwork, the size of the sample that we interview, where and for how long we do participant observation. How do all the elements of our qualitative research project fit together? Important words. We are going to be talking about this in a number of ways, primarily through you doing your directed reading. We ensure quality by assuring viability, credibility, and trustworthiness in our qualitative research. The narratives we tell, the descriptions we write, the pictures we take, the interviews we have, the observations we record. And if we have got valid, credible, and trustworthy data, we will have a quality project. Triangulation. How many sources? From how many sources have we heard that this is the way things are? Do we hear it from one person? Do we hear it from two? Do we hear it from everyone across the gender, the ethnic, and the class divide? Or if we have done if we have made attention to triangulation, if we do not believe just one person, we have to ask one person, two people, at least three people. And if three people tell us this is the way that it is, then that is triangulation, not being led down the garden path by just one person. The quality of a qualitative research project differs in the sense that there is an element of craft. There is an argument for saying that research is as much of an art as it is a science. How was the project conceived, designed, executed? Is it innovative? Is it creative? Is it tasteful? Is it artful? All of these are elements of craft. Vividness. In your qualitative data, have you achieved detail, richness in your descriptions of the things you have seen and heard. Transferability, ability to transfer findings from one context to another based on fittedness. And all of these are elements of a quality in our research. Let's go back now. What we're going to be doing next is taking you through, I'm going to make some summary comments. I'm going to be asking you a few questions, and we're going to be spending quite a bit of time introducing some suggested readings that you can begin to follow. We've talked about a number of things, the difference between qualitative and quantitative being the most important, but let's go now to Xmind and look at this just a bit more. Okay then,